Hello and welcome to this live interaction with me, Ashish Parekh, and today I'll be talking about the new discovery that could possibly trigger the finding on the Martian surface. In fact, there have been various discussions on how Mars once probably held life on its surface, but now the discussions have been triggered through various series of findings, and in what comes as a development that could possibly reignite the hope of finding life on Mars. A new research published in the journal Nature Astronomy indicates that there is a buried reservoir of super salty water near the Martian South Pole. In fact, scientists have found cluster of 3 salty liquid water lakes on the Martian surface, and each of these are about 6 miles across below the planet's solar polar ice cap. And this has been done by an international team which examined radar data from MARSIS, which is a scientific equipment on the European Space Agency's Mars Express spacecraft. Now, this technique that they use, in fact, where bursts of radio waves to image the buried geological structures in a similar fashion to that of seismic prospecting, which is carried out to help predict earthquakes. So this is what they have done, and using this technique they found the briny lakes which have potential to sustain microbial life in extreme conditions on the Martian surface, and they have found it in a region near the red planet's south pole. So this comes as a major discovery, and this is in fact not the first time that this has happened. In fact, in 2018 a team of scientists had announced that they had found a large body of liquid water beneath the southern ice caps of Martian surface. To speak to me more about this particular discovery and how much of a significance it holds, I have with me senior professor from the Indian Institute of Astrophysics, Mr. Jayant Moti. First of all, Professor Moti, thank you for joining me on this live interaction. How significant is this discovery and what does it mean for the mission Mars?
It's part of this water had been suspected for some time, and this just seems to be further confirmation.
Okay.
Of course, there could still be other explanations for this, so I'm sure that they'll have to continue their work.
Mm-hmm.
If the water is actually there, then it is important because we know that there was a lot of water on Mars in the past.
Yeah.
And this would be evidence of the primordial water that's been there for hundreds of millions of years.
Mm-hmm. Also,
of course,
Professor
it may
Moti,
or may not have life.
Yeah, speaking about these new lakes, each of the newly discovered lakes, they say is around 10 kilometer across and about 1.5 kilometer in depth from the surface, which is not too different compared to the depth of the 2018 lake, which was reported earlier. And also, it has been reported that microbial life in the lakes could include extremophiles, which can obviously withstand intense heat, highly acidic environments, and extreme pressure and extreme cold as well, which is what we look at when we are talking about the Martian surface. So this again brings us back to this question, because Martian surface has been studied it has been claimed that it held ancient life, microbial life, but this possibly could also mean that it is still holding microbial life. Is that possible?
The concern is that this water is much saltier than the extremophiles live in on the Earth. It has to be very salty, otherwise it would be frozen.
Yeah.
And so, of course, it's still possible that there may be something that can live in that salty water, but not the extremophiles that we have on the Earth.
Yeah.
This is much saltier even than that.
Yeah, and also if you could just brief us about what kind of environment and how difficult is it for even extremophiles to survive under such temperatures. If you could just explain to our viewers as to what sort of a temperature and what sort of a condition there is beneath the Martian surface, which is very difficult for all of these extremophiles to also survive. That would help them understand what exactly this means, how remarkable this is.
Yeah, I don't know about the exact temperature, but what I know is that it is so cold that the water would normally be frozen.
Okay.
Now, the reason it's not frozen is because it's so salty. And so you can easily find out how salty it has to be liquid under those conditions, under that temperature and pressure.
Yeah.
And so this is all modeling.
Yeah.
They haven't gone there and actually measured the salt. They just said that in order to be liquid water there, it has to be this salty.
Okay. Also, this comes after the potential biomarker, which you remember we discussed about, on the, in the clouds of Venus as well. So clearly exciting times ahead for probes that are going ahead in different directions. First, it was all focused towards Martian surface, then it slowly shifted towards Jupiter, and then it again went towards Venus. And now again, this new study is again exciting as far as Mars is concerned. So, exciting times ahead, isn't it, Professor?
What I would say as a scientist is let's not focus on Venus or Mars or anything. Let's go to all of them. We need to explore Venus. We need to explore Mars. We need to explore Europa, Titan. Everywhere we find possibilities of life. We have not found life anywhere yet, but there's certainly possibilities.
Yeah.
So we need to go to all of these places.
Okay. And last question to you is, yes, we're talking about finding out possibilities of life, biomarkers, like a lot of people call it. What next? Once we verify that, yes, there is some sort of a microbial activity going on, or there is some sort of a sign of life on a particular planet, what next? What do we do next?
Oh, I think there must be so many questions that we just haven't asked.
Yeah.
Because the only life we know is our own life. All life on Earth is related. Now we go somewhere else and we find, is that life related to us? If it's related to us, that's a whole series of questions. Why is that life related to us?
Yeah.
If it's not related to us, then it tells us a whole new set of questions. What puzzles has nature solved in order to have these different forms of life? So no, we can't, no end to the questions that will come up.
All right, then thank you, Professor Murthy, for joining us on this live interaction. Clearly, if this particular discovery is verified, it would be the first time liquid water has been found on Mars, and it would have a profound impact on how we search for extraterrestrial life, and especially focusing on planets like Mars and Venus. So do let us know what you guys think in the comment section below, and also do not forget to like, share and subscribe to News9 Digital.